guys, Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with part 2 of that absolutely massive bins haul that me and my sister-in-law got when we went to the bins together the other week. We went through the first half, which was mostly the stuff that she had picked up and a little bit of the stuff that I picked up. And then the second half of the stuff is coming today. I wanna say I've got about 30 more items to get through. I couldn't have done it all in one video. It would have been like 2 hours long, and that's just too much. But let me get these out of the way so I can clear some space for the stuff that we still have yet to get through. But before we get started here, if you are new, if this is your first time here, first and foremost, welcome. I'm Julia. That's my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But with that being said, guys, we have so much still to get through, some really cool finds. Again, it was kind of a tougher day at the bins. It wasn't like, you know, sometimes you go to the bins and it's just like, it's serving. It's giving you all the goods. This, you know, we were there for a long time. It was very crowded. The finds were few and far between. We did get the finds. We did get some really cool, incredible pieces, but we really had to dig for them. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink. You know I've got my matcha latte. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the goods. So let's start off the second half of this with something that is a brand I would generally not pick up like ever, but a style that I will pick up every time I see it. So this is from Style & Co., which is a Macy's, I think it's like an in-house Macy's brand. And it's just not, I see a ton of it, it's not something that I'm gonna pick up, but this is a red velvet blazer. I will pick up any red velvet blazer I see ever, any time of the year, whenever, as long as it's in good condition, it's mine. These sell so beautifully during the holiday season, and like for good reason. This is so like soft and plush, and it looks special, and it looks really festive, and it's something you can easily just throw on and make a holiday outfit great. I have sold these in May. I have sold these in the dead of summer. I have sold these, of course, at Christmas time, but I have no doubt that I'll probably see like $30 on this just because of what it is. Let me know if you have had the same experience with velvet blazers, red in particular. It's just an always buy for me. They sell so well. And again, I think rightfully so. I think they're so pretty. This is a size 14, so it's a good size. It's in great condition, and it's that deep red. So it's just really, really lush. Very cool find. Next up, the first of a few great pieces of vintage lingerie that we found. So this is a little like satin leopard print slip. It's got kind of higher side slits with a curved hem, which is kind of cool. The brand on this is Amaretta. Just going by that tag, I'm gonna guess this is like late 80s, maybe early 90s. It's a size medium. Very faintly you can see that. But again, this is the kind of thing that isn't necessarily gonna sell as like a nightgown. This is gonna sell for somebody's gonna throw a leather jacket over this and take it out on the town. Super duper cute, great condition. Vintage leopard is just like a magical combination for me. It sells really, really well. If I see that combination together, I'm gonna pick it up pretty much every time. Very cool. I'll probably see like 25 on this. Like it's got a really nice deep V back. It's just really pretty. This will go in no time. Next up here, we've got another piece of linen here. I know that it is the end of summer. It doesn't matter. Linen will sell for me all year long. This is Cosmo made in Italy. So I don't know what Cosmo is, but it is Italian linen, so we're in. This is just kind of like a knee-length dress. It's got a raw hem. It's obviously very wrinkled. It needs a wash. But it's got a high neck, sleeveless. It's got a gathered back to give you a little bit of shaping. It's in really great condition. It's a size extra small, so this is a pretty like generous cut. Like this looks like it's made to be worn nice and loose and flowy. But again, fantastic condition. I'll see between like 25 and 32 on this. And I have no doubt that that'll go pretty quickly, even in that small size. Neutral colored linen is like an easy sell. Next up, now this was an unusual thing. There are a few like minor condition issues here that I think I can tackle, but this is like a, I guess like a dressing gown, a vintage dressing gown from Christian Dior. Hello. Now that's not something you see in the bins every day. It is not silk, it is polyester, which seems unusual, but it's button front. It's got this pretty lace yoke. I may try to do like a gentle kind of like soak wash on this, because I'm gonna guess that this is vintage from probably the 70s, just going by the sleeve, like this really puffy sleeve with the tight little lace cuff. Feels very, very 70s. So I have no idea what I'll get for this. Oh, there's pockets, tiny pockets. Clearly they didn't have cell phones to put in their pockets back in the day. But floor length, like I said, there's a few little specks of stains on here, but like you don't see a Christian Dior piece and leave it in the bins. Like I'm gonna give it my all to get this back to brand new and see what I can get for it. I have no idea. I've never sold anything like this. This is just kind of a very unusual piece, maybe 40 or 50 bucks. TBD on what I can do condition-wise. Looks like all the buttons are there. That's kind of one of the hard things. Like you always, if you see stuff like this, check all the buttons because the fabrics are delicate and the buttons can easily pop off. So what a find. I mean, again, you know, it was slimmer pickings there, but then you find something like this. I could 100% see that going and being used in like a period movie set in the 70s. I could 100% see something like that happen. Next up, this was an interesting one. This is Oscar de la Renta. And this is just a cotton quarter zip sweater. This is a men's piece. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a full zip sweater with a little like window pane knit pattern on the front. The quality is great. The condition is fantastic. It's a size medium. It's like a great men's kind of like dress up any outfit basic. Sold comps on this were not super high. I don't know much about the Oscar de la Renta tags, but I don't think that this is like the main ready to wear line with like the block letters, but the quality is still there. The name recognition is still there, but I have no doubt I'll see probably 30 bucks on this, maybe a little bit more. I have to do a little bit more research on the tags. Obviously, I don't find too much in the terms of like luxury designers in the bins, but you know, no better time to dive down that wormhole than now. So I'll do a little bit more research, but otherwise a great find, again, in fantastic condition. Great basic. Oh, love finding these. So this is a little Disney raglan shirt. It's like baseball sleeves, raglan sleeves. This is vintage. You can tell it's got the woven tag there. I want to say that they started doing the screen printing. So this is probably like Y2K era, right? So this is probably, if I have to guess, I don't think that this is the late 90s one. That's a little bit different. I know what that one looks like. I want to say that this is probably like 2002 to 2005. It's in perfect condition. But these kind of vintage Disney shirts do really well for me. I'll probably see somewhere 25 to 30 on this, give or take a little bit. It's size extra large. If you see one that's got a woven tag, it's a little bit longer, the Disneyland is in black, that's from that like 1995 to 2002 era, and those are really sought after right now. So keep your eyes out when you go thrifting. If the label is screen printed, if Disney stuff is not something that you do on a regular basis, I would leave it behind. But if you see these woven tags, maybe roll the dice and take a chance. So, of course, we live like within the sphere of influence of Disneyland, so we see a ton of Disneyland merch in the bins and in the thrift. You learn pretty quickly like what to and what not to pick up, because it's just a ton of it. There are obviously more modern pieces that like people will pay up for. Like there are tons of stories. Like for example, there are these like little conductor hats. And for years, they didn't make them. They're just like little Mickey conductor hats with little ears on them. For years, they didn't make them. They retailed for like, whatever, $30 in the park. But because they weren't making them and people really wanted them, they were going for like $300 on eBay. So there are things like that, but it really does require you to spend a lot of time like paying attention to the Disney merch world to know what to and what not to pick up. Like if you are not willing to do that, which I'm sure most of you are not willing to do, I would just err on the side of like, if the tag is screen printed, leave it behind. If it's woven, maybe give it a try, but make sure you're sourcing it low. Next up, this was an interesting thing. I didn't even comp this in store. This is a pair of like flutter shorts from a brand called Shopo. And I think that this brand is sold in Revolve. The name was really familiar to me and the quality felt really nice. The style felt really nice. So I grabbed it. It's also a size, it's size 12, so it's a nice larger size. They're in fantastic condition. I want to say that these retailed probably like $70. I will probably see, and I'm interested to see if these move now. Again, we are at the end of summer, but I wanted to give this brand a try. Oh, they are fully lined too. So I'll probably see like 25 or so of these, maybe a little bit more. Let me know, are you familiar with this brand? Have you bought and sold this brand before? Let me know your experience with it down below, because this is the first time I've ever found it. It's like just on the edge of my awareness, so I'm interested to hear your experience with it. Let me know. Cute though, right? Next up here, now this was a cool find. So this obviously visually just jumped out of the bin at me, like into my bag. I don't even remember picking it up. But this is from Current Mood, which is a brand sold at Dolls Kill. And this is, you know, a full-on rainbow sweater, chunky, oversized, pretty great condition. It's a size small. Now, Current Mood, I'm generally gonna pick up, especially the more substantial pieces. Anything Dolls Kill really does sell quite well. You just wanna be aware, I know I've mentioned this before, Dolls Kill is one of those companies, if you are somebody who uses a lot of stock images, Dolls Kill is one of those companies that really aggressively goes after people using stock images. So just like be conscious of that as you're listing. You know, I don't want to tell you what to do, but just know that that is a risk. So when I went to look this up, and it's a pretty like easy to search for sweater, chunky rainbow sweater from Current Mood, there weren't a lot for sale, but there were a lot sold. And a lot of those that were sold were in that $40 to $60 range, which seems crazy, but it's also like a fabulous chunky sweater for Pride season. You know, obviously Pride is, you know, not for several months, but people wear the rainbow all year long. And I think this is kind of a fun way to do it. If you want to be really in somebody's face, I got your sweater. So very cool find. Next up, this is a little dress from Anthropologie, and this feels like such a fall dress to me. This is thermal, THML. I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say that brand name, but this feels in like brand new condition, and it's got this pretty like cartouche pattern, but it's got this pretty, like, look at that little keyhole neckline. It's got this piping detail in like raglan sleeves, and the sleeves go out to a bell. You know, I love a bell sleeve. And then the bottom is like a lightweight sweater. So it's kind of like a sweater dress, but fully finished. It's really pretty. You know, there's lots of things that I can keyword this with. This is boho, this is sweater dress, this is cozy, this is kind of hygge, that's H-Y-G-G-E, in case you don't know how to pronounce that word. It's pronounced hygge, which is, I think, just basically Norwegian or Swedish for cozy, something to that tune, but it's in great condition. So I'll probably see like, I don't know, 28 to 35 on this, maybe a little bit more, because this is in such great condition. This really doesn't look like it's been worn at all. I love this little peekaboo. We did find some funky things. This, again, we dug and dug and dug and dug through the bins, and you know, like on a better day, we would have been leaving with like 100 pieces, and I'm kind of like happy we didn't, because I'm still very behind on my listing. But this, okay, so this is an interesting thing, and I don't know if you're gonna find this anywhere else in the country, because I believe this was like a local brand here in LA. And when I say like local, I mean hyper local, to the point where their tag is hand drawn. Like that's handwritten. So this is called Belle and Day. This is a size large. This is a little romper, little tie-dye romper. It's got little cinches on the side to like give it a little bit of shape. I have a friend who, like, this is very much her style, so I might consider giving this one to her, but I found 3 or 4 pieces from this company. And again, I think that they were like a local company here. I want to say that they might have sold at like the flea markets or at like Melrose Trading Post, which, if you are unfamiliar with Melrose Trading Post and you are in any way into like vintage clothing, if you are ever in Los Angeles, I urge you, number one, if you are here on the week of a Rose Bowl flea market or a Long Beach flea market, I urge you to go Rose Bowl, obviously preference, it's massive. But Melrose Trading Post, you're gonna pay up a little bit, but if you love finding like a highly curated vintage clothing selection, go and check it out, because you're gonna find a lot of handmade stuff, a lot of hand like embellished stuff, and a lot of great vintage stuff. It's just really fun. It's just a really fun thing to do while you're here in town. It's at Fairfax High School, which is like right in the heart of Hollywood, and I believe they have them, I believe it's every Sunday. Either way, this company, so I've had 2 or 3 pieces from them, and they've all sold for like a pretty high dollar amount. I had a sweatshirt with like big sequin wings, like a long kind of caftan style dress, and I want to say they both sold over $50. I'm really interested if any of you have ever found a piece by Belle and Day, if you are like in the Los Angeles area or if you are elsewhere in the country, let me know. I'm really interested to see how far this has gone, but I'm excited to see it. The other ones that I've had have sold quickly and for a great price. So to me, this is a great find. Let me know. I'm dying to hear if anybody else has found anything by them. I'm really interested. Next up here, now this was a cool find. So this is Ero Paris. This is 100% linen. This is like a distressed kind of oversized t-shirt. Can you see like there's like holes by design all over this. They're very kind of like evenly placed. You can tell that they're intentional. And Ero Paris is a super, super expensive brand. This probably retailed $200 to $250. And like this linen feels divine. I mean, you can tell it's just the top of the top quality. It's really, really beautiful. And it's this like deep burgundy. This is a good transitional piece. It's a size extra small, but again, kind of a generous fit. Definitely something that's meant to fit like slouchy and a little bit oversized. I'm not sure what I'll get for this. Maybe like 30 to 40. It looks to be about what sold comps are going for. When I did a quick search for this, I saw one of these that had sold. I think it was like $45, but it was in like a tan color, not this burgundy color. So we will be rolling the dice. Honestly, that's a lot of what we do, is making best guess at resale prices and figuring it out as we go along. But definitely a brand to be on the lookout for. And of course, if you are looking for like absolute top quality basics, you know, of course, James Purse, Ero Paris, you can get these for like a quarter of retail price or less, and the textiles are a dream. Next up here, this is probably something I'll keep for myself. This is just a little Lululemon racerback tank top, just something I'm gonna keep for like a gym shirt. This is their Pima cotton, and if you have been watching my channel for any amount of time, you have probably heard me talk about my Holy Grail t-shirts, the Lululemon All Yours t-shirts. They are expensive, but they are the best. When I first bought it, I bought a black one and a white one, and I've worn both of them probably once a week since I bought it. Gotta be 4 years ago. They have been washed. You know, I take good care of my t-shirts. I always air dry them, but they've probably been washed 200 times each, and they all look brand new. Like, for example, a couple months ago, I was wearing my white t-shirt out and we met up with some friends, and my friend was like, oh, look at that crisp white brand new t-shirt. I'm like, this is like 3.5 years old. And it's been washed a million times. Guys, if you are looking for that like investment t-shirt that fits well, I mean, obviously everybody's body is different. Like, these just fit my body exactly the way I want them to fit my body. But like, don't hesitate to spend a little bit on your like black t-shirts, your white t-shirts. This is the place to spend a little bit of extra money, because they are your like wardrobe workhorses. Anyway, soapbox over. Something like this, like I said, I'll keep it. If I were to sell it, it would probably be like $15. It's just a little tank top, but do keep your eyes out. You know, if you don't want to spend the money on it, keep your eyes out on the secondhand market. It's called the All Yours t-shirt. For me, I like it, like my arms are a little bit thicker, so it doesn't like pinch in. They hit at the right level. It's like the perfect amount of relax. I could talk about those t-shirts forever, and they're just like t-shirts. Next up, this is a cute little piece from Intimately Free People. This is kind of a little insignificant piece. It's a size small. It's one of those kind of scrunchy knits. Let me show you what this looks like when it's like stretched out, right? So it's got this kind of cool jacquard look to it. And then it's got these nice wide sleeves. It's got these nice wide straps that have a little bit of a scallop to it. They're really pretty once it's on. The reason I grabbed this is one of those things that can really fall very well into one of the core aesthetics right now. Let me know, like, do you want me to do a video on like what aesthetics are trending? Would you want me to do like a trends video? If that's something you're interested in, let me know down below. That could easily be something, if I take a week off of sourcing, that could easily be something that I do. Lord knows I can talk about this kind of stuff ad nauseum. So let me know. Let me know if that's something that you want. If there's anything specific that you want, let me know. But this really falls very well into two different core aesthetics. So this falls into coquette, which is very girly, light colors, so on and so forth. It can fall into girly, ethereal, you know, whatever. This is something that I can keyword like you wouldn't believe in selling. I probably won't see more than like 20 bucks for this, but it's a cute piece. It's Free People. It's Intimately Free People. People love that. And again, it's got just so much about it that I can keyword that I have no doubt that I'll be able to move it quickly. Next up, okay, so this was an interesting one. This is definitely vintage from the Y2K era, maybe a little bit later than that. This is from Eva Franco. And Eva Franco was a pretty high-end designer back in the day. I don't know if she's still designing, but she always had this really like very cute, like twee aesthetic. I mean, like, look at her tag. Her tag was very much like of her aesthetic. This is like a little, this is seersucker in like a black and white stripe. This architectural seaming here, it looks almost like, kind of like it's folded into place. You know how like you fold a kimono with like a true kimono, you fold it into like position and then you tie it with the obi. It kind of has that feel. Obviously it's all stitched down, but it's a little pencil skirt with kick pleat in the back. Cute as could be, in perfect condition. This is size 2, made in the USA. Definitely a brand to be on the lookout for. If you do vintage, if you do Y2K vintage pieces, like this is definitely a label you want to keep your eyes out for. I like Eva Franco. I really like Plenty by Tracy Reese. But let me know if you've ever found a piece by her. Tell me about it. You know I love to hear about your vintage treasures, but I'm not quite sure what I'll get for this. It's not quite in the sweet spot of what people are really seeking for Y2K wise, but in my experience, anything from that era does sell. So maybe like 25 to 32 on this. Again, great condition, and the quality is really beautiful. Fully lined as well. Oh, that's so soft. Oh, this was kind of a cool find. So this is from Vince, but look at this, a little preppy color block navy and cream Vince sweater. This is 100% cotton. It's really cute. It's a size small. I feel like I never see Vince pieces in these kind of colors. I feel like every time I see a Vince piece, it's gray or black. I don't think I've ever found anything that wasn't gray or black or white from Vince. Now that I'm thinking about it, in all the time that I've been thrifting, I don't think I've ever found anything that wasn't one of those 3 colors. And this is like cream and navy blue. So love this, probably retailed for close to $300. It's in great condition. So probably like $30. Just if it was like flawless condition, because you can use preppy, nautical, old money aesthetic, quiet luxury, all these kind of different aesthetics in here. And because it's this like known high-end brand, this could probably go closer to 40 or 50. But again, it's got a little bit of a condition issue. We are moving right along, guys. Okay, this was kind of a gut pickup here. So this is a vintage dress. I'm gonna guess 90s on this, just going by the silhouette. This is a beautiful cotton gauze, ultra lightweight, but the construction on this is so nice. You know, you can just kind of like feel the quality in the seaming and the finishing here. It's really, really nice. And the brand on this is Belle of California. It's made in India. When you're looking at something like this, that's like a lightweight gauze made in India is a very good thing. I love this style. It's got little cap sleeves. It's got a little round neck. It's got a little bit of give to the waist, but it's not elastic. I think it's made to sit kind of loose. So when I looked up Belle, and this is something that I didn't even necessarily comp in store, this was 100% a style pickup. And oh, it's got the most eeny weeny little shoulder pads in here. They're super, like, first of all, they match. And they're nice, they're like really lightweight and really small. So it's just like a hint of shaping on the shoulders, you know, like maybe just to cover up like the bra dents if you've got a bra dent. So when I got this home and I looked it up, I was kind of expecting to see, you know, if I saw anything from this brand, I was kind of expecting to see sold comps in like, you know, 25 to 35. That's about what I see on like kind of vintage dresses that are not like from designers of note. But a lot of the sold comps from this brand, this Belle of California, $50, $60, up to $70, $80. So a vintage brand to be on the lookout for. Take a look at that tag there. Commit that to memory. Let's all find these treasures. I love the colors. I love the print. I love the feel of it. I wish it was my size. It is just delicious. Okay, next up, this is another really interesting designer, and I'm very interested to hear if any of you have had experiences with this designer's stuff. So I picked this up because it felt really unusual, incredibly high quality. This is a men's t-shirt, and it's got this like texture to it. Let me get you up close so you can see that. Can you kind of see, like, I can't quite tell. It's not pin tucked, but it actually feels like it's been pin tucked, but it's not. So the designer on this is John Barnes? I think it's Jane. It's a size small men's, so it's definitely oversized. And when I looked her up, so first and foremost, she's no longer designing clothing. She is designing interiors. I love that creative transition. But what she was known for was creating like textiles and garments that had mathematical equations as basically part of it. So think about like the Fibonacci sequence, right? Like it's the golden ratio, and that series is seen all over the place in nature. So she's kind of taken the same process into textile designing, not necessarily Fibonacci, just whatever. I'm not a mathematician, by no means. I do like math, but I'm sure she was a bit more advanced. But like, how interesting. I love discovering designers doing really interesting things like that. It just makes me so happy. Anyway, her stuff was pretty expensive. Her t-shirts were like $150. I have no idea what I'll get for this. 100%. I picked this up because this textile is just an absolute dream. It's like this oatmeal. It's like a little bit speckled, and then again with that like rib detail. So again, not quite sure what I'll get for it. Maybe $30 or $40. It is just beautiful. Is this linen? Cotton rayon linen. What a beautiful textile. Okay, so next up here, we've talked about Elizabeth and James quite a bit on this channel, and I've done some digging and kind of figured out the like, duh, why didn't you figure this out before kind of method for determining whether something was Elizabeth and James from Kohl's or Elizabeth and James from Elizabeth and James. So I first picked this up. The quality on this is like unbelievable. So Elizabeth and James, if you are unfamiliar, if you are here for the first time also, Elizabeth and James is a brand that was owned by the Olsen twins, who are also the co-founders of The Row. So for a long time, Elizabeth and James was kind of considered like the diffusion brand for The Row. So in terms of pricing, say you had a skirt like this from The Row, it would have cost somewhere $1,000 to $1,500. Something similar from Elizabeth and James would have run somewhere $250 to like $500. And recently Elizabeth and James was purchased or licensed or something to that tune by Kohl's. So the labels look the same. And that's where it was like tripping me up. Now I'm looking at this and I've held the ones from Kohl's, and I can tell that this tag is definitely nicer. Like for example, the ones from Kohl's have machine stitches on the side, and you can see how that is tacked, like hand tacked on the side there. But there were other hallmarks of like extreme quality in this. So this is just a pretty flowy maxi skirt. It's got 2 slits in it. And the thing that put me over the top, the thing that told me everything I needed to know before I even looked it up. Look at the hand basting on that side seam. Let me get my face out of there. See how you have that little like stitch detail on either side of that seam, and it's like a fully closed French seam. It's really beautifully done. You can tell it's not like, it's perfect, but not like exactly perfect. So that was not done by machine. I think the seam was done by machine, but the detail work, the overstitching was not. So it's really beautiful. But the easy way to tell, guys, look up the RN number. I don't know why that took me so long to figure that out, but basically the RN number for Elizabeth and James, like the actual Elizabeth and James, will come up as Elizabeth and James, and if it's Elizabeth and James for Kohl's, it will come up for Kohl's. But while you're on the fly and you're shopping, and if you don't really want to take the time to look it up, look at that tag, see how the tag is attached. If it's hand tacked, chances are you have like a real Elizabeth and James piece. If not, you're probably looking at something from Kohl's. So sold comps on this skirt. I can't wait to get this like cleaned up, because this is really beautiful, very elegant, very like, oh, just flowy and ethereal. Sold comps on this are like 50 to 60 bucks. Again, a great brand if you're looking for those like minimalist basic pieces at, you know, not $600-700. Check out Elizabeth and James on the secondhand market. And now you know, like if you are questioning it, just ask them for a picture of the contents tag of the RN number so you can check. But absolutely beautiful skirt. Really not showing well on camera though. I'm sorry, it's for you, it's a wrap skirt, so it's just a huge piece of fabric. Next up, okay, so this is a little Madewell piece. Again, I don't pick up every Madewell piece. This is one of their, I think this is called the courier shirt. I will never on the fly on the camera remember which shirt is which. The reason I picked this up mostly is because it's a 2XL, which are just kind of hard to come by on the secondhand market. It's a more recent piece. It's a very classic fabric. It's that kind of like lightweight cotton with a blue stripe. It's tie front. It's kind of a blousey fit. This will go pretty quick because of the size alone, but the style also helps it. I want to say I'll probably see like $25 for this. Just be aware, like, If you're finding basics like this from Madewell and you're in like a regular Goodwill or a Savers or Salvation Army and you're looking at paying like $6, I would just really proceed with caution. I would make sure that you are only, like, unless you really know what it is that moves from Madewell. Like their cashmere does pretty well for me. Like when I do find it, I don't find it all that often. Their cashmere does well. Their linen does well. Their pants do well for me, like really well for me. But stuff like this, you're probably not gonna get much more than like $20 to $25 on it. It'll probably move fairly quickly because, you know, Madewell is a very expensive brand and people do love it. But I don't want you to go in saying, oh, this cost $80 retail, I'll probably get 30 to 40 so I can pay up. Like you're not gonna see that right now. Like that's just not where the market is for Madewell. So just proceed with caution, kind of know your guardrails with this and, you know, understand where you stand with your profit in relation to what you are able to source for. Ah, yes, next up. Okay. So a lot of people ask me if I wear gloves when I go to the bins, and I don't. And there's absolutely no shade to anybody who does. I totally understand why you do, but for me, hand feel is everything. I can stick my hand into a pile of clothing and find the nicest t-shirt in there in two seconds flat. And that is exactly what happened with this one. This was in like a pile of other black t-shirts. So this is from a brand called Kasubi. This is an Australian brand, super high end. They have a lot of kind of like streetwear style stuff. They are very expensive. This probably retailed over $100. It's just a black t-shirt, but it is like the absolute dreamiest, softest cotton that you can imagine. So this is the logo you're looking for. And typically when you see a Kasubi piece, it's going to be like black and white. This is kind of unusual to see a piece that is completely monochromatic. It's got kind of slightly shorter sleeves. It's got kind of a slimmer fit. It's got this little strip that's hanging off the bottom. It looks like it's a torn piece, but it is not. It's an intentional little strip that's sewn actually on the inside next to the contents tag. Usually you will see the little logo embroidered down at the bottom. I've never seen it tone on tone. I usually see it in white. Now, I have never found this in the bins or in the thrift. It's an exciting find for me. Let me know if you have ever found a Kasubi piece, like how much you got it for, how fast did it sell, what did you get for it? I'm very, very interested. This is just one of those brands that's like been on my radar because I kind of like the aesthetic. Very exciting find. I'm gonna guess I'll probably see like $35 to $40 on this. Like they are no joke expensive. It is so, so soft. It's cut on the bias. It's really nicely brushed. It's got like a good weight to it. It doesn't feel like, you know how sometimes you get that like really thin, soft jersey and you know that in like 5 washes it's gonna have a hole in it, even if you hang it to dry. We've got just a couple more. It looks like 3 or 4 more. This is a brand for sure to be on the lookout for. This is Rhone. Rhone is definitely one of those brands. They do like athletic wear. They're kind of in the same vein as like a Viore or like a Lululemon. I don't think that they do women's wear. At least I've never seen any women's wear. Everything I've ever found is like men's. So this is a pair of kind of joggers. They're like slimmer fit. They've got elastic at the bottom, but it doesn't look like they're super duper tight. Navy blue with a black waistband. These feel like brand new condition. Size medium. These retail probably like a little over 100, I think like 115 or so. And I have no doubt that I'll probably see like 40 to 45 on these. That's about what I've gotten on every other Rhone piece that I've ever had. And I will tell you that every other Rhone piece I've ever had has sold in like 2 days. So definitely a brand to be on the lookout for. Let me know if you have the same experience with this. Let me know if you find it frequently where you are. I think this is only like the 2nd pair I've ever found in the bins and maybe the 3rd or 4th thing that I found in the thrift period, but quality's really nice. It's a brand people love and they seek it out by name. So let me know. Let me know your experience on these. Oh, I lied. We got a couple more. Okay, so this is another one that I picked up because it's just so unusual. So this is a little like ribbed cotton shirt, but it's got like, can you see what this is going on, right? So this side is like a ribbed polo with like a notched collar, with like a spread collar. And then over here, this is like a cable knit sweater. It's so interesting. It's got differing sleeves, like this one is trimmed in this beautiful crochet, this one ends normally. The brand on this is Lafi Marabout, which I had never heard of. The tag obviously looks really high quality. The cotton is beautiful, like you can tell this is beautifully made, like this is not a cheap garment. So this brand is like a high-end designer brand. There's not a ton on the secondhand market, but what is there has sold for a pretty decent price, like $40 to $50. Most of the pieces are a little bit more significant than this, but it's just like, it was just so funky. I talk about weird and well made, right? Like, you know my rule of weird and well made. And this fits right into it. So it's made in France. There's no size on here, but this appears to be about a size small. So let me know if you're familiar with this brand. Let me know. I'm very interested, but this is one of those things that's like, it's so weird and so funky and so nice that I had to pick it up and give it a try. I will try to include this in one of my ship with me's, either here on the YouTube channel or over on TikTok or Instagram. I'll have my handles right here, so follow along there. I'm trying to get a little bit better at posting more regularly with that short form content, but let me know your experience with anything you found from this company. I'm very, very interested. It's so cool though, I love it. I love these kind of like left of center type basics. Okay, oh, look at this little vintage short robe confection. Look at this. Oh, look at that detail. That's all pin tucked. The brand here is Alice Maloof, which I believe was sold at Neiman Marcus. I think this is pretty high end. Oh, is this a dream or is this a dream? So it's striped with this pin tuck detail and this beautiful lace. It is in incredible condition, not a pick or a pull on this lace. Little short sleeve, tie at the neck, kind of like a shrug. I had imagined this is something that was worn as like lingerie back in the day, but today I think that this would be something probably, I mean, this could even be worn over like a wedding dress. I could easily see this being worn as part of a wedding ensemble or something worn during like the bridal season of somebody's life. It is like just so fabulous. It's so fabulous. I have no idea what I'll get for this. Maybe like $40. Stuff like this I tend to get somewhere 40 to 60. I'll do a little bit more research on the designer, but like the details in this are out of this world. Like you can tell that every care was taken. All of this pin tucking is hand sewn. You want to know the weight of my heart? That's it. Just like unbelievable. What a beautiful little piece. Oh, I love it. Next up, a little swimsuit. This is from Ralph Lauren, and I want to say that this is polo. I feel like somewhere I saw, yeah, there's a little polo player there. This is like brand new condition. It's purple with this pretty fringe, size small. I feel like this coverage is a little bit more reasonable than a lot of the swimsuits that I've found recently, but just a little triangle top in this pretty like royal purple color. So sold comps on this specific swimsuit were like 35 to 40. So not bad considering this is like kind of like a mall brand. This is something that was probably sold at like Nordstrom, but it's in great condition. It's an unusual color. I think that's kind of the thing that will move this, but really pretty. And again, in great condition. I love these fringies. Just two more pieces. This is another little vintage piece. So I picked this up and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. This is silk. It is very wrinkled. It needs to be like steamed and cleaned, but it's got this beautiful scallop detail on the neck, nice wide sleeves. And I was looking for the tag and I looked inside to see if I could find like an RN number. And sure enough, it's Oscar de la Renta. And that is the Oscar de la Renta like mainline tag. That's super high quality, like woven, tacked in how that is. It is just a beautiful little silk blouse. Again, like it needs to be steamed and cleaned, and I'm really excited to see what this looks like when it is like brushed up. I don't know how old this is. I'm gonna guess this is probably 90s. Just kind of like, it's a kind of a gut feel on this, just going on like the manufacturing, looking at the tag, looking at kind of other finishing pieces. I don't think that this is 80s or older. I don't want to say that, I don't think that this is like 70s. I want to say that this is probably 90s. If that's the case, and this is like a mainline ready to wear Oscar de la Renta piece, this probably retailed for like somewhere $1,200 to $1,500. I'm not sure what I'll get on it. Again, I need to see what it looks like condition wise once it's steamed and cleaned. Oh my God, look at the finishing. Like, look at how clean that seam is. Like, you can barely even see where the fabric comes together. I mean, this level of construction is like always just such a treat to get up close and personal with. Like anytime I'm in New York, I'm always gonna go into Bergdorf's. We all know that I can't afford a single thing in Bergdorf's. Maybe I'll go and I'll buy like a lipstick. But like, I love going and just drooling over some of the pieces, especially up in like the evening gown floor. You know, if you're like me, you know what I'm talking about. So I'll probably see, I don't know, somewhere between like 35 and 100 on this. I don't know. I'm not quite sure where we'll get to, but it is lovely. And again, just like a delight to find. And finally, oh my God, this was such a cool find. So I felt this, I knew immediately it was cashmere. And when I was pulling it out of the bin, it just kept coming, right? So this, I thought initially this was a cardigan, and it's not, it's a robe. This is a cashmere robe. Isn't like, it's floor length. There's no tag in it. I'm assuming there was a tacked tag in here because like typically if you have a tag that's been like machine stitched down or even machine stitched into like the back neck, you will see the remnants of it, or you will see like kind of like the echo of the stitches. A hand tacked tag is literally done that way so that it disturbs the garment as little as possible. And usually they'll tack it in wherever possible to like the back seam so it's not touching like the flat part of the textile. So I don't know who made this. So it's got like an internal tie, and then it doesn't have like a belt that goes around. It's just got a tie here and a tie here, so it's going to tie around. So that's kind of a good clue, right? So it just kind of ties almost like a wrap dress there. But it is like ankle length, fabulous condition. There's no wear under the arms whatsoever. Like this cashmere feels brand spanking new. So I'm gonna try to find who made this, like, you know, doing some Googling, there were a couple brands that made them. They're all like between $350 to $600. So I don't know what I'm gonna get on this. I wanna see if I can figure out who made this. There's no RN number. The only tag on the inside just says 100% cashmere. You can tell that there was another tag there that was cut out, and then this number didn't bring up anything whatsoever. So I just have to do a little sleuth work, but I mean, what a find. And I swear to God, if this was my size, there is not a chance this would be leaving my house, because like when else will I ever be able to afford a cashmere robe? But isn't this beautiful? So, so nice. Maybe 50 or 60 bucks, maybe $150. We'll find out. Like if I can figure out who made this, we'll be able to get a little bit closer in terms of like what the price will be. But like the finishing on it is really nice. Like you can tell that this was really well made. Of course, it's all cashmere. Like they're not cutting corners here. So, but that is it. I want to say we had about 60 pieces between the two of us. So it was a pretty intense haul. I thank you guys so much for hanging out for 2 episodes. If you haven't seen the first part of this haul, if you haven't seen Courtney's stuff that she found and the first half of the stuff that I found, I will link the other video down below. Be sure to go check that out after you watch this one. But for all the numbers nerds here, so we had somewhere between like 55 and 60 pieces, and I can't remember specifically, and I know a couple of those pieces went home with them. We're gonna estimate that we had about 57 pieces here across both of our hauls. The grand total MSRP of everything that we picked up is over $10,000, which is just unbelievable. I think I've got about $1,600 in sales here across all the pieces that we found, and that'll bring me to a profit of somewhere between $1,200 and $1,300 with roughly a $56, $57 investment. That brings me to a return on investment of about 22x, which is just insane. So thank you guys so much again for hanging while I go through these hauls. It is always so fun to show you the treasures that we find. I just really appreciate that there are other people that nerd out about these things the way that I do. You have no idea. I have found my people. You are my people, and I appreciate every one of you. But guys, if you had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, please don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, have the most beautiful week. I'm sending you all of the vibes to find all the treasures. Happy hunting, and I will see you in the next one.